Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. This is only my second time giving this presentation, so thank you for bearing with me as I kind of stumble through here. But my name is Kayla Boren. Belinda Spangler is my mom, so if you know that. Some of you I know from a long time. I am not a tech expert, so I'm sorry if you were expecting a tech expert in here. I'm very sorry, that is not me. And I will not be giving you expertise on technology itself, but instead just sharing my experience and what I've read and my knowledge of what I am currently learning about through parenting with technology. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about today. I am in music ministry and I'm a music teacher. So I've been teaching for about 12 years and I've been in music ministry at my church for 6 years. And I've been homeschooling my kids for the past 2 years. So I was just telling this table, we're all going back next week to public school. So it's going to be an interesting week next week. I am a mom of 3. I've got 3 kiddos, age 3, I remember this, 6 and 7. It's hard to remember, keep them straight. So that's who I am. I live in Pittsfield, Illinois, which is about an hour away. Hi, Mom. And so we're gonna dive in today. So this is our roadmap for our presentation today. And I've got notebooks on the tables. You're welcome to keep those. There's also handouts on the tables. You're welcome to grab one of those. So we're going to talk about how we got here with technology and where we are today. What do you need to know? Some stats, some facts, where the world is today, which a lot of it you might know, some you might not know. And the best part, what are we going to do with that information? What do we do now? Just tell me what to do, okay? So that's where we're headed. How did we get here? We're going to start. So when I gave this presentation at my church a couple of nights ago, and it was actually a 3-hour seminar, and we watched the entire movie. It's called Childhood 2.0, and it's free video on YouTube, and it's on that resource sheet that you have in front of you. I would really encourage you to watch it. It is not an easy watch. It's rather startling, but it's really good information. And it is a very good starting place for your family, for your church. It's really good. So I'm going to actually show you the trailer right now. If we can get it over here. And just kind of give you a bit, and that'll kind of set us up for our presentation today. So, load. And Mr. Sinet, if you would turn off the lights for this part. Thank you very much.
A long time ago, families were in communities. They were local, they were small.
I was born in the very depths of the Great Depression. I was put to work carrying wood, carrying water. I knew how to shell peas, I knew how to break beans. We still didn't have electricity.
I have 2 Instagram accounts.
I use Instagram,
Snapchat, and TikTok.
TikTok and Fortnite.
I can just scroll for hours on end. 11 hours a day.
It's been 8, 9.
Maybe like 12.
It's actually been a way that we can keep track of them out there in the real world where things really are scary.
The lives of kids were sort of changing slowly for a while, and then all of a sudden, most kids were able to get on social media, and that's when everything skyrocketed.
The rates at which they're experiencing problems continues to increase.
We also know that the teen suicide rate increased 56%.
Last year alone, we received over 18 million reports of international and domestic online child sexual abuse.
We have traded a false sense of safety and security for actually putting our kids in riskier situations.
I call it the race to the bottom of the brainstem. So it starts with techniques like pull to refresh.
Pretty much every guy has like an addiction to it, but no one talks about it.
But it's just faster now, and it's younger.
Well, yeah, like nudes of girls go around the school all the time.
At the beginning of the year, there were multiple suicides before school even started. There were men that wanted to talk to children at all hours of the day and night.
On Snapchat, one thought it'd be a funny idea to talk the other one into committing suicide, and she did it. She's dead.
After about 6 weeks, we were able to crack his phone.
Kids right now are going to experience the worst of what we're going through.
I won't.
Do you think your parents know that this happens?
No. My kid won't do that. My kid would never. My kid's school isn't like that. You're wrong.
Because what they see, they feel neurologically compelled to do.
Right now, we're effectively living in an experiment. How is this going to affect us? We'll find out.
Okay, so that's the trailer. And as you can tell by the trailer, it's a little much. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot to get. Here's my cursor. Okay, there we are. Yeah, but The important thing, it's going again. See, giving a presentation on technology. My technology's not working. Cool. Okay, here we go. There it is. All right. It is important to remember we serve a big God. So, everybody take a deep breath. And it's going to be great. It's going to be okay. And we're going to talk about how we move forward here. Number one, technology is awesome, actually. There's so many cool things about technology. I personally use technology a lot in my job. I do a lot of video making for our church, and I do a lot of online stuff with the school, and I love technology. I love making those little stop motion videos with my kids, like Lego stop motion videos. Those are fun. I hear that kids can cook you dinner thanks to YouTube. My kids are not doing that, but I hear it can happen. Kids have access to global information at their fingertips instead of having to go to the library or ask an adult. Kids are actually being paid to play video games and getting college scholarship for it. That is real life. That's actually happening. We can FaceTime with people around the world. We can send a message instantly. I have a cousin in Pennsylvania. I was able just to text her the other day, say, hey, I'm praying for you. That's so cool. It's so great. Technology in itself, it's not good or bad. I think sometimes, at least me as a mom, I was always it's just bad, we're just not doing screens. Nope, just put a TV in the basement. I literally did that, put the TV in the basement for a month because my kids, I was we cannot handle the screens. And so my response to technology for years has been, no, we will just avoid this, deal with it later. But technology in itself, we just have to remind ourselves, it's not good or bad. It's not a moral situation we're dealing with. It is a tool, and how we use it is what makes the difference. Okay, I do want to talk to you about social media today. So I've been doing a lot of research on social media and the effects of social media. I brought some books if you want to look through afterwards at all. There's some books out there. This book is one I would highly, highly recommend, and it's on your resource list also. So this guy, Matt McKee, I saw him speak in the spring, and that's kind of what spurred my interest in starting talking on this topic, and I read his book. It's very, very good. Almost all the information I'm going to give you today is in this book. He also has a parenting course that is really good too, but it's $40, so the book is less than $40. It's $10. It's really good. Another good book, this is really good, 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now by Jaron Lanier. I give this one with a little bit of a caveat. There's a little bit of language in this book. He's a little bit like a social media doomsday person. If you're looking to, it's all real information. It is all truth. It's pretty intense. So I do give that caveat to you with that book, but it is good. And I did delete my Facebook after reading that book. So, and then this is another one, Weapons of Math Destruction. I'm currently reading this one. It's pretty good. This one is a very good practical family book, Tech-Wise Family by Andy Crouch, and gives you a lot of really practical tools as a family. My husband and I went through this book together, and it's really good. So social media, it started out great, right? Facebook, I remember when it started, it was just for college students, and it was this is a way to talk to people and connect with people. It's so cool, and that's how it started, and it was really, really good when it started. But the people that owned Facebook had to make money somehow, right? And so then there started these ads. And then the ads, they discovered that with these ads, they could target you specifically with algorithms. That's what that Weapons of Math Destruction book talks a lot about. And so here's the crazy thing. You don't even have to click on anything anymore for them to know. They have algorithms that when you're scrolling, whatever you pause on, they know. And they're logging that. And so then they're comparing your information to other people that like similar things to try to keep you on social media, because their end goal is to keep you on the screen. That's their goal for your kids, and that's their goal for you. And I think it's very important that everybody knows that. Now, that's not saying, I'm not going to be like Jaron Lanier and say, everybody needs to delete all your accounts right now, right this minute, because I do think good things can happen on social media. I do think that there are people that handle social media very well, but you need to be aware of the dangers and what it's actually doing in your brain and in your kid's brain. And it's talked a little bit in the trailer about it, it elaborates more in the movie, that pull to refresh, like it does in so many things, or the the scrolling where you don't know if it's going to load more, that it is an addiction ploy. And they put that in there because it makes you addicted. That is why it's in there. And it fires those same brain waves as a slot machine. The same thing. I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here. I need to flip the thing. This is a really important sense to know. If you are not paying for the product, you are the product. Google, Facebook, any of those free platforms. The reason it's free is because they're making money on you and your time on social media. These are the goals of the tech companies: engagement and growth in advertising. Notice it is not connecting you with loved ones. It is not helping your kids learn things. These are their goals. Their goals are not the same as yours. And again, I am not saying Facebook is evil. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I want you to be aware of what's actually going on behind the scenes in social media. Okay, a tool. So a tool is something you use and you control and you have a purpose for it. Social media is not a tool. Okay, social media is more like gambling. It's more like a slot machine. It is not something you are in control of behind the scenes, right? You are controlling what you click, and you're saying, yeah, I'm doing this. But Facebook actually, this was kind of scary. There's another video called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. It's really good too, and it talks a lot about social media specifically. Facebook actually ran an experiment like 5 years ago. And this is like public, like they did this to see if they could change the minds of voters, like change a whole group of people, sway them a certain way without them knowing it was happening. And yes, they could. Facebook can actually, they have those tools. There's enough manipulation in the way they suggest things or pop things up or put it in what you might enjoy, what you might pause on. They have all that information so they can actually start to change your mind about things. Well, none of us want to be manipulated. None of us want our kids to be manipulated. So we have to be aware that this is happening. Google does not know truth. The Bible is truth, right? Google is not truth. It is an algorithm. Interesting experiment. They also talk about this on The Social Dilemma. If you go to Google on like 3 different computers that have different search histories and different information, and you type in, for example, climate change is, and you know there's that drop-down menu, it's going to be different for each computer based on what they know about you. Which that kind of blew my mind, and I did not believe them, so I tried it out, and it's true. It is so true. Like it will, if you have searched, or somebody on that computer has said like, well, climate change is not real, then those are going to be the things that drop down. If you've been searching, well, climate change is, these are the effects, that's going to drop down. Like, that is very interesting to me, that they are suggesting things that we might like. But when you Google something, you're not looking for suggestions, you're like looking to find an answer. So I thought that was really interesting. Tristan Harris used to work for Google, along with many other people that have left Google and Facebook and Instagram because of moral issues with the companies. It's not about technology being the existential threat. It's the technology's ability to bring out the worst in society, and the worst in society being the existential threat. Again, these people did not make Facebook and Instagram and say, oh, let's make the world evil. They're not trying to be evil, okay? They are not evil people. I firmly believe that. But the systems that are in place and the refreshing and the suggesting and the swaying of decisions, it is dividing people into these groups, especially since 2020, especially since COVID. And Facebook is playing into that. All these social media accounts, they're playing into that. They're dividing, and then that's creating these groups, these like pods of people that can't see things from others' perspective. Because they aren't seeing the same feed that you are on your Facebook, right? So you see somebody post something and you're like, oh, there they go again. Like we all know people like that. They're like spouting things out there. Well, they might, where they're coming from, like you don't know what their Facebook feed looks like. That may seem like not radical at all. And they may have a different tone, but you don't know that because of the way the platform is set up. Okay, so what do you need to know? So these are some stats. These come directly from the book. There's a whole chapter on stats. in the book. And a lot of these statistics, they come from some medical networks. Some of them also come from the company called Bark, which I will talk about later, which helps monitor social media accounts and like phones and Chromebooks and stuff. So that's where these come from. 76% of tweens, 78% of teens experience cyberbullying as a bully, a victim, or a witness. Only 11% of teens talk to their parents about incidents of cyberbullying. 11%. 55% of tweens and 67% of teens engaged in conversations about depression. 17% of kids ages 6 through 17 experience a mental health disorder at some point during childhood. And major depression increased by 52% among young people between 2005 and 2017, which coincides with the introduction of phones and social media. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 24, and 1 in 10 high school girls will attempt suicide. 71% of tweens and 84% of teens encountered nudity or content of a sexual nature, and 1 in 4 teens is sexting. And some people call that nudes, sending nude photos. It's very, very alarming. Okay, this is really important that our kids know, and us as adults know, posts and pictures are never really gone. Even when you delete content off your phone, even when you delete content off your computer, if it is on the internet, it is out there somewhere and somebody can access it. So platforms like Snapchat that delete pictures immediately, they're not necessarily deleted because somebody else before that disappeared on their phone, they could have easily downloaded that. Sexting is considered the new first base among a lot of teenagers, and pictures of nudes are actually traded, this is very alarming, in some college campuses and among high school students. So there are, and it talks about this again in the Childhood 2.0, there's databases out there of these pictures and then they get traded like baseball cards. So it's very concerning. Okay, different approaches to technology. So we wonder, why can our kid like pick up our phone and figure out how to do that thing that we've tried forever to do? Well, it's because kids ask, well, what can this do? They're not afraid to push those buttons and like try something out, and we're like, well, we want this to do, like I want my Chromebook to do this presentation, so I don't want to hit a wrong button or it might not work. We ask, what can it do for me? The kids come at it completely different. They're just curious. They ask, what can this do? Passwords are doorways. Passwords. So as we are parenting our kids, as we are teaching our kids and working with them with technology, you should know all of their passwords at the beginning, but by the time they're 18, you should know 0 of them. That's a little bit of a practical tip, because if we are still gathering all their passwords when they're 18, they're not going to know how to function in the real world. Okay. I thought this quote was very interesting too. There are only 2 groups of people who call their customers users: drug companies and software companies. Your kids are not tiny adults. They will mess up, and that is okay. And also, you will mess up, and that is okay. We are all human in this, and we are all figuring this out, and it has never been done before. Like, this sort of parenting with phones, like from the age, tablets from age 1, 0, this has never been done before. We don't know. Okay, so I want you to take a minute. I want you to check in. We've got some tables, some seats. Check in with those near you, and I want you to come up with one word to describe how your table is collectively feeling right now. I've thrown a lot of information at you. I want you to kind of debrief, okay? Go ahead. All right, I'm going to bring you back here for a second. Yes, we are close on time here. Okay. Words. If you want to pop out your popcorn words, what are your words? How are you feeling right now? This table at the back, how are you guys feeling? What's your word? Or a word? Cautious.
I feel cautious.
Yeah? Good, good. This table?
I said cautious.
Cautious. Good? Yeah. What about you guys?
Angry, frustrated.
Yeah. So let's go to this one, right? This is what we all wanted to know anyway. This is where we wanted to start. What do we need to do? So what now? We have all this information. We realize this is an issue. Let's move forward. So you can pick a path. You can pick the path of acceptance as, well, it's going to happen. Yes, we'll just hope for the best and pray real hard and woo! And I do not say that to diminish prayer, because prayer is very important, very powerful. Or we could do rejection. That's what I was doing with just put everything in the basement. We just won't do screens in our house. Okay, well, even if I don't give my kid a phone until they're a freshman in high school or whatever, our kid down the road may have a phone next year. So you can't keep it all from them. Or relationship, which is where I would encourage you all to step into. Relationship with your kid and relationship with your kid with regards to technology. It all goes back to the relationship. So we're never going to be able to keep up with all the changes in technology. We're just not. So we need to take this step with our kids. And it's never too late. Like if your kid already has a phone and you haven't done some of the, it's never too late. It's all about conversation with your kids. And you guys are here because you care about it, right? Like I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys you care about this. And so I know you're already talking to your kids about these things. Talk to the kids and just have a relationship with them. It should never be a spying on situation. If you feel like you have to sneak around behind your kid instead of having a conversation, I would encourage you to look at that again and say, okay, maybe I can just have a conversation with them. Maybe I can talk to them about this. Because it all goes back to relationship. You want them to come back at Thanksgiving some year, right? You don't want them to leave the house and be like, oh my gosh, my parents were like, oh, they never let me do anything. So it's all about conversations and doing the relationship. So technology, and because of time, we're actually going to skip this one a little bit, but technology is just one piece of the relationship with your child. So other pieces might be sports, it might be piano lessons, you might connect with your child over Star Wars is a big thing in our house, it's just one piece. It's not like the piece, it's just one piece of connection with your child. The key is do it together, because that's going to lead me to the most important thing you can do, and the number one indicator of how kids use their technology is how their parents use it. What they see is what they will do. The key is to do it together. I want you to think for a minute, if your child, your grandchild, your niece, etc. were to use technology exactly like you, the same number of time on the apps that you use, exactly the same, would you like that? I just want you to think about that for a minute. Okay, where the rubber meets the road, practical. So number one, we need to deal with it as a family, as I kind of already said. So this includes, we need to put limits on what we do in our home, when, where, how long we use devices. Andy Crouch in this book, he sets a really, tech-free times. He sets a really good idea of take 1 hour a day a week, and a week a year off of technology. Turn it off, actually use that power button on your phone and turn it off completely to help yourself from getting addicted. I'm addicted to my phone. I have to, and I have not done the week a year yet. I'm working on that one, but I'm with you guys. I'm still trying. But I tell you what, that just turning it off for an hour a day, it is so helpful for my mental health, because I feel my anxiety rise the more I am on my phone and scrolling too. So do that together and make that known, this is what we're doing, guys. All technology is going off for this hour, or this is our day. It partners really well with the idea of Sabbath day. There's a really good book out there. It's called The Elimination of Hurry. It's not on my list, but I would highly recommend it as Christian families. It's really, really good. And it talks about the importance of making a Sabbath with your family. And this goes right along with it. On Sabbath days, just turn your technology off. Just turn it off. And then, let's see. Oh, yes, this is really good. So Matt McGee talks about this in his book a lot. Use tech to create or compete instead of consume. So technology can create all this cool stuff out there, and you can compete. So the video game piece we talked about. Now there are limits, right? We don't want to just let them go, create all day on the screen, but there are limits. Create or compete instead of just scrolling, instead of just consuming, because that's better for our soul, better for us. Okay, when you're ready to introduce a new technology, a good principle is don't be the first, but also don't be the last. That's hard for me because I just want to be the last. I'm just can we just wait the longest? But don't be the first and don't be the last. He recommends getting an Android phone, actually. Matt McGee, when I heard him speak, he said Androids are a lot easier to work with third-party systems that help monitor and help you know what's going on with your kid than iPhones do. Add one app at a time, and you add them too. So you and your kid, you add them together. So you add them at the same time, and you say, okay, we're gonna do this. Matt McGee also recommends exploring, look up what is the purpose of that platform. So like look up the mission statement of Facebook and talk about that with your kid. Say, this is what they intended when they created it, and just have a conversation. All goes back to that conversation. Do it together. This is a really good rule too. If you don't know them in real life, do not friend them online. In the movie, it's really scary. They set a timer, they go undercover and pretend to be kids and make social media accounts, fake ones, and then they show you what happens. And they set a timer, and if it's just open, within, I think it was 1 minute and 40 seconds, they had like several requests from strange men and like asking all these personal questions and like a video request. Like, it's very alarming. So if you don't know them in real life, do not friend them online. Just make that a rule in your house. Have a tech contract. So on your table, I actually put a sample in of a tech contract, and that's just a sample one. That's from the Bark website, and you can make your own. But just when you give that new piece of technology, whatever it is, whatever it might be, brain chips in the future, I don't know what it's going to be. But when you give that new piece of technology, it comes with responsibility, and you can tell your child, like, I'm not spying on you, but I'm going to do this with you. Like I'm going to be checking on this. I'm not going to just give this over because it's just like a busy interstate. You wouldn't just let your 3-year-old go into the interstate, like, right? Or anybody, I guess, highway. If you have to cross to get the mail or something, you're gonna hold their hand. And you can explain that to your kid. Be like, I don't trust the rest of the world, actually. That's what I don't trust. And I'm gonna work with you. We're gonna do this together. And I've heard, and I haven't done the phone thing, so again, like I'm maybe not the wrong person to ask about that, but I've heard that they'll do anything to get a phone, so they'll agree to the tech contract. Open up and set up the phone before you give it. So like open it up, set it up, make sure you know how it works, put all of the security stuff that you want on there, and then package it back up and then give it to them. So, and they'll like having it ready to go. It's set up anyway. And check in every few months for more or less freedom. So make it an ongoing conversation in your house. Like, well, maybe they are ready for another new app. Maybe they need to pull back. Maybe we need to all take a break from technology in our family. Maybe that needs to be the conversation. And have BOLO allies. So that's be on the lookout, okay? So that's friends, coaches, teachers, coworkers, mentors, youth leaders, pastors, anybody that has a relationship with your kid, and check in with them. I mean, this is just regular parenting stuff too. Check in with them and see, well, how's my kid doing? Do you notice anything? Do you notice, are there concerns? Because going back to that 11% stat, a lot of kids will not talk about it. They will not bring it up to you if they see something or if they have an issue. So talk to those people and see, are you seeing a change in behavior? Just keep those people in your regular contacts. And it all starts with a conversation. So we're going to end it here today, and I want you to just have some conversations with your table. We got a few, like 7 minutes or so left. And think about what next steps. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information, a lot to think about. What are 3 next steps you could take in the next 3 weeks? Okay, so be realistic. Don't try to overhaul your whole family life. And maybe it just starts with you and your relationship with technology. Maybe just setting that hour a day off. Maybe that's a good place to start. But go ahead and check in with your table, and then I'll give you the resources at the very end. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to just wrap us up here. We got about 1 minute left. This is the conversation, and my goal today was to have you start conversations with people around you. That's the goal. Like if you and your kids, friends, parents, and each other all together in the school can be talking about this, that's where real change is going to happen in our families. So I'm so glad that you guys are talking about these things. Resources, so Bark, I would encourage you to look on that website. So Bark has a system they partner with schools for free, and they also partner with parents. They have a tool called Bark-O-Matic, and the cool thing is it actually sends you a notification. Like if your child gets a text message that says of somebody that's cyberbullying them or saying like, you're so ugly, you should die, or something like that, you as the parent get a notification that says, ding, you need to go have a conversation with your kid. So it's not that it just says, oh, this is the text message your kid received. It says, you need to go talk to your kid. And so it lets you know, which is really, really cool. And they have a blog, they have lots of really cool articles and entries there on the BARC website. I would really encourage you to watch Childhood 2.0. It's really, really good, and it's free on YouTube. It's an hour and a half. I would also encourage you, if you have Netflix, to watch The Social Dilemma. The books that I recommend are all really good too. If you're not much of a reader, but you're looking just for some quick resources, I really recommend these two books the most, and they're just really good. This one is not, it's definitely written by people that are just trying to communicate a message. It's not like beautifully written. It's not like an easy to read flowing book. This one's very well written, but they're both very, very good resources. I'd highly recommend them both. And if you would like me to come present this presentation at your church or to talk with you further, there's my email. I've done it at our church. I'm going to go do it at Mom's church too. And I just feel very strongly that people need to know this information. I do not have all the answers clearly, but this needs to be a conversation that is started because this is the world we live in. So thank you so much for coming today, and thanks for being here. Appreciate it.